She pushed open the door expecting laughter and celebration. Instead, silence fell like a knife. Her fiancé stood frozen, guilt painted across his face. But it wasn't another woman that shattered her world that night. What she discovered was far worse, a betrayal that ran deeper than blood itself. Before we dive into this shocking story, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You won't believe how this unfolds, and stay until the end, because the twist will leave you speechless. Now let's begin. Lauren had always believed in happy endings. At 29 years old, she had built a life that seemed picture perfect from the outside. As a successful marketing executive at one of the city's top firms, she had climbed the ladder through sheer determination and talent. Her corner office overlooked the downtown skyline, and her calendar was filled with meetings, presentations, and business dinners. But none of that compared to the joy she felt when she thought about her upcoming wedding. Malcolm had proposed 6 months earlier on a beach vacation in Mexico. The ring was beautiful, the moment was perfect, and Lauren had said yes without a single doubt in her heart. They had been together for 4 years, and she thought she knew him inside and out. He was a real estate developer with his own growing business, ambitious and driven just like her. They made sense together. At least that's what she told herself every time a small doubt crept into her mind. Those doubts had been appearing more frequently lately. Malcolm had grown distant over the past few months. He blamed it on work stress and wedding planning pressure. His mother, Diane, had never quite warmed to Lauren. There was always a chill in Diane's voice when they spoke, a tightness around her smile that never reached her eyes. Lauren had tried everything to win her over, but nothing seemed to work. Malcolm assured her it would get better after the wedding. His mother just needed time to adjust. Lauren's younger sister, Angela, had been helpful during the wedding planning, or so it seemed. Angela was 26, working a job she hated at a retail store, still living with their parents. There had always been an unspoken tension between the sisters. Angela had struggled while Lauren soared. Their parents tried not to show favoritism, but it was hard to hide their pride in Lauren's accomplishments. Angela smiled through it all, but sometimes Lauren caught a flash of something darker in her sister's eyes. Jealousy, maybe, resentment. But they were sisters, blood. Lauren pushed those thoughts away. The bachelor party was planned for a Friday night at Malcolm's cousin's lake house, about 2 hours outside the city. It was supposed to be a traditional guys' night. Poker, drinks, cigars, and stories. Lauren had planned a girls' night with her best friend Nicole and a few other friends. She wasn't the type of fiancé who worried about bachelor parties. She trusted Malcolm completely. But then Friday afternoon came and the girls' night fell apart. One friend got sick, another had a work emergency, and suddenly the evening was canceled. Lauren found herself alone at home with nothing to do on what should have been a fun night. That's when Nicole called with a suggestion. "Why don't you surprise them with some food?" Nicole said cheerfully. "You know how guys get at these parties. They probably ordered pizza and forgot about real food. You could bake those cookies Malcolm loves and bring some sandwiches. It would be sweet." Lauren liked the idea. It felt thoughtful and wifely, a preview of the partnership they were about to enter. She spent the evening in her kitchen, baking chocolate chip cookies from scratch, the smell filling her apartment with warmth. She made a platter of sandwiches, packed everything carefully, and headed out around 9:30. The drive would take 2 hours, which meant she'd arrive just before midnight. Perfect timing to surprise her future husband. The roads were quiet that late on a Friday night. Lauren drove with the windows down, letting the cool air wash over her face. She felt good about this decision, spontaneous, loving. She imagined Malcolm's face lighting up when he saw her, the grateful hugs from his friends, the story they'd tell at their wedding next month about the time she crashed his bachelor party with homemade cookies. She arrived at the lake house just before 11. The lights were on throughout the house, and she could hear music and voices from inside. She smiled as she grabbed the containers of food from her car. But as she walked toward the front door, something caught her eye. Diane's silver Mercedes was parked in the driveway. That was strange. Why would Malcolm's mother be at a bachelor party? Then she saw another car that made her stomach drop. Angela's red Honda, her sister's car. What was Angela doing here? Lauren's steps slowed. Her mind raced through possible explanations, each one more innocent than the last. Maybe Angela was dropping something off. Maybe Diane needed help with something and Angela had offered to drive her. Maybe there was a perfectly reasonable explanation for why both of them were at her fiancé's bachelor party. She reached the front door, her hand hesitating on the handle. The voices inside had gone quiet suddenly, as if someone had signaled for silence. Lauren's heart began to pound. Something was wrong. She could feel it in her bones, in the sudden tightness of her chest, in the way her hands started to tremble. She opened the door. The scene before her would be burned into her memory forever. The living room was full of people, but everyone had frozen in place like actors in a paused movie. Malcolm stood in the center of the room, his face completely drained of color. He looked like he might be sick. His eyes met Lauren's, and she saw something there that terrified her. Guilt. Pure, absolute guilt. Angela was there, standing near the fireplace, wearing a tight dress that Lauren had never seen before. Her sister's makeup was heavy, her hair done in a way that seemed too elaborate for a casual visit. Angela's eyes widened when she saw Lauren, and she immediately burst into tears and ran toward the bathroom. But it was Diane who made Lauren's blood run cold. Malcolm's mother stood in the corner of the room with her arms crossed, and on her face was something that looked almost like a smirk, like she had been caught but didn't particularly care. "What's going on?" Lauren heard herself ask. Her voice sounded strange, distant, like it was coming from someone else's mouth. No one answered. Malcolm opened his mouth, but no words came out. Some of his friends began quietly gathering their things, heading for the door with mumbled excuses. The room was emptying, and still no one had answered her question. "You weren't supposed to be here," Diane finally said. Her voice was calm, matter-of-fact, as if Lauren had simply shown up to the wrong address. "What does that mean?" Lauren's voice was stronger now, anger beginning to cut through the shock. "Why is my sister here? Why are you here? Malcolm, what is going on?" Malcolm finally found his voice, though it came out as barely a whisper. "Lauren, we need to talk." "Then talk," she said. The containers of food slipped from her hands and hit the floor. Cookies scattered across the hardwood. No one moved to pick them up. Malcolm's face crumpled. For a moment, Lauren thought he might cry. When he spoke, the words came out in a rush, like he had been holding them back for so long that they couldn't wait another second. "I've been seeing someone else for 8 months. I'm so sorry, Lauren. I never meant for this to happen. I never meant to hurt you." The room spun. 8 months. 8 months of lies, of coming home to her, of planning a wedding, of looking her in the eyes and saying, "I love you." 8 months. "Who?" The word came out as a whisper. Malcolm couldn't look at her. He stared at the floor, his whole body shaking. It's Angela." The words didn't make sense. Lauren heard them, but her brain refused to process them. Angela, her sister Angela. The same Angela who had helped her pick out wedding invitations, the same Angela who had been at family dinners, who had hugged her, who had called her the best big sister in the world. "No," Lauren said simply. "No, that's not possible." Angela emerged from the bathroom, her face streaked with mascara. "I'm so sorry," she sobbed. "I'm so sorry, Lauren. But you have to understand. He never really loved you. He told me. You were too focused on your career, too busy for him. He needed someone who could give him attention, who could make him feel important." The cruelty of it hit Lauren like a physical blow. Angela wasn't just confessing, she was justifying. She was making excuses. She was trying to make this somehow Lauren's fault. "There's more," Malcolm said quietly. "Angela is pregnant. The baby is mine." The room tilted. Lauren reached for the wall to steady herself. Pregnant. Her sister was pregnant with her fiancé's baby. This wasn't just an affair. This was a future. This was a life they had created together while she had been planning a wedding that would never happen. "How long have you known?" Lauren asked, turning to Diane. Malcolm's mother shrugged, not even bothering to look ashamed. "A few months. And honestly, Lauren, I'm not sorry this came out. You were never right for my son. You're too independent, too career-focused. You would have made him miserable. Angela understands what it means to be a wife, to put family first. She'll be good for him." The realization crashed over Lauren like a wave. Diane had known. She had encouraged this. She had probably orchestrated this entire thing, pushing Angela and Malcolm together, creating opportunities for them to betray her. And Angela, her own sister, had gone along with it, had wanted it, had taken the man Lauren loved and destroyed their family in the process. "Why?" Lauren asked Angela. It was the only question that mattered now. Angela's tears stopped. For just a moment, her real face showed through, the jealousy, the bitterness, the rage that had been building for years. "Because you have everything," she spat. "The perfect job, the perfect apartment, the perfect life. Mom and Dad love you more. Everyone loves you more. I'm tired of being the failure sister. I'm tired of living in your shadow. Malcolm wanted me. He chose me. For once in my life, I won." The words hung in the air like poison. This wasn't about love. This wasn't even about Malcolm. This was about Angela's jealousy, her insecurity, her need to destroy what Lauren had built because she couldn't build it herself. Lauren looked at Malcolm, really looked at him. He stood there between the two women, looking weak and pathetic and small. He had allowed himself to be manipulated. He had betrayed her with her own sister. He had let his mother poison what they had. He had lied to her face for 8 months while she planned their future. She pulled the engagement ring off her finger. It felt heavy in her hand, this symbol of promises that had meant nothing. She dropped it on the floor, watching it bounce once before rolling under the couch. "The wedding is off," she said calmly. "Don't call me, don't text me, don't try to explain or apologize. We're done." She turned to Angela. "You're not my sister anymore. Don't come to my home. Don't call our parents looking for sympathy. You made your choice. Now live with it." And then she walked out. She got in her car, drove back down the long driveway, and made it about 5 miles before she had to pull over. Only then did she let herself break down, sobbing so hard she thought she might be sick. She called her parents from that roadside. Her father answered, his voice groggy with sleep. When she told him what happened, he went silent for so long she thought the call had dropped. Then she heard her mother crying in the background. Her father's voice, when it came back, was harder than she had ever heard it. "Angela is no longer welcome in this house. You hear me, baby girl? She's not our daughter anymore, not after this." Nicole arrived 30 minutes later, having driven like a maniac when Lauren called her. She held Lauren while she cried, didn't say anything stupid like it will be okay or everything happens for a reason. She just held her and let her fall apart. The next days were a blur. Lauren moved into Nicole's spare room. She called the wedding venue, the caterer, the florist, canceling everything. She sent a simple email to the guest list. "The wedding has been canceled due to personal reasons. Thank you for your understanding." She didn't explain. She didn't owe anyone an explanation. Word spread fast. In a community where everyone knew everyone, secrets didn't last long. Malcolm's business took a hit as people learned what he had done. Some of his biggest clients dropped him. His friends distanced themselves, disgusted by the depth of his betrayal. Even his own family members called to apologize to Lauren, furious with Diane for her role in the disaster. Angela lost her job. The stress and drama became too much, and her manager let her go. She moved in with Malcolm into a small apartment, the lake house having belonged to his cousin who wanted nothing to do with them. The baby arrived 5 months later, a boy, but the joy that should have come with his birth was overshadowed by resentment and regret. Malcolm and Angela tried to make it work, but their relationship was built on lies and betrayal. Every time Malcolm looked at Angela, he saw what he had lost. Every time Angela looked at Malcolm, she saw that she hadn't really won anything at all. Diane continued to insert herself into their lives, trying to control everything, making them both miserable. They were trapped in a prison of their own making. Lauren, meanwhile, was healing. It wasn't easy. There were nights when she couldn't sleep, days when the betrayal felt so fresh it took her breath away. But she went to therapy. She leaned on her real friends. She threw herself into her work and got promoted to director. She started to remember who she was before Malcolm, before the wedding planning, before the betrayal. 6 months after that terrible night, Lauren walked into a coffee shop downtown and saw Malcolm. He looked terrible. Bags under his eyes, weight lost, shoulders hunched. He saw her and froze, just like he had that night at the lake house. She could have walked past him, could have pretended she didn't see him. But Lauren had learned that healing sometimes meant facing the pain head on. "Lauren, please," he said as she approached. "I need to talk to you. I need you to know how sorry I am. Angela, she played on my fears. I was scared about getting married, about not being good enough for you. She told me what I wanted to hear. My mother pushed us together. I was weak and stupid, and I destroyed the best thing in my life." Lauren listened without interrupting. When he finished, she took a breath and spoke with a calmness that surprised even herself. "I forgive you," she said. Malcolm's eyes widened with hope, but she held up her hand. "I forgive you because I need to, for me. Not because I want you back or because what you did was okay. It wasn't. You and Angela and your mother broke something that can't be fixed. But I'm not going to carry this anger around forever. It's too heavy and I have a life to live." "I miss you," Malcolm whispered. "Every day I miss you." "That's something you'll have to learn to live with," Lauren said gently. "I hope you can be a good father to your son. I hope you and Angela find some kind of peace, but that's not my concern anymore. I'm moving forward, and you're not part of that future." She walked away then, and this time it felt different, lighter, like she was finally putting down a burden she had been carrying for too long. 3 months later, Lauren stood in her new apartment, a beautiful space she had decorated exactly how she wanted, with no input from anyone else. She had started dating again, casually, taking her time. She had reconnected with old friends and made new ones. She had discovered parts of herself that had gotten lost during the years with Malcolm. Her parents called weekly to check on her. Her father had kept his word. Angela was not welcome at family gatherings. It hurt their mother, but she understood. Some betrayals were too deep to forgive. Lauren had learned something important through all of this. Sometimes the people closest to you can hurt you the deepest. Sometimes the family you're born into isn't as loyal as the family you choose. Sometimes the worst thing that ever happens to you turns out to be the door that opens to your best life. She had been frozen that night at the lake house, shocked into immobility by a betrayal she never saw coming. But she wasn't frozen anymore. She was moving, growing, becoming. And for the first time in a long time, when Lauren looked in the mirror, she liked the woman looking back at her. The woman she had become was stronger than the one who had walked through that door expecting celebration and finding devastation instead. She had survived the worst kind of betrayal and come out the other side, not unscathed, but unbroken, not unchanged, but not defeated. And that, she realized, was its own kind of happy ending after all. Can you believe what happened? A sister's betrayal, a fiancé's lie, and a mother-in-law's manipulation, all in one night. What would you have done in Lauren's position? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and if this story shocked you, smash that like button and share this video. Subscribe for more jaw-dropping true stories. Remember, sometimes the people closest to you can hurt you the deepest. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.